Good to Great. Good to Great. With Ali Naimi. Only on Pulse 95. Pulse 95.
So there's a beautiful quote said by Michelle Obama. She says that there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. I certainly do agree, especially after meeting an amazing person who is hardworking, inspiring, and simply motivating. Her efforts are seen in every work or action she does, and she is always a public-spirited person. Stay tuned with us today on Good to Great, because our today's guest has amazing advices, which are a must listen. So do not go anywhere and stay tuned with us right here on Pulse 95.
Thank you for accepting the interview, Ms. Reem. It's a pleasure to have you on Good to Great.
The pleasure is all mine. It's always very fun and interesting to meet with Pulse 95.
So let's start. This is a question that I always ask my interviewees. And can you please introduce yourself to us?
My name is Reem bin Karam. I am currently the director of Nama Women Advancement Establishment. At the same time, I am a board trustee in Ruba' Qarn. And also I am leading the Pink Caravan campaign, the breast cancer awareness campaign in Sharjah.
So what I know is that NEMA has got lots of associations under the same umbrella. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Nama Women Advancement Establishment is the mother umbrella that hosts underneath it 3 affiliates, which is Sharjah Businesswomen Council, Irthi Contemporary Craft Council, and Badri Education Academy. And that is our educational arm to the entire NEMA and affiliates organizations. With NEMA, a beautiful story is everything that Her Highness heads always starts as an idea and ends up as an entity. And with NEMA, it's followed the same path. It started off with Sharjah Businesswomen Council, growing to a point where they exceeded their mandate, let's say. And so a few other affiliates needed to be created in order to fulfill women empowerment and make sure that no gaps are in the whole process, or let's say, when it came to empowering women, we wanted to leave no gaps behind. And so, as a result, other affiliates were created. So if we started off with Sharjah Businesswomen Council, then we realized, well, we have an amazing culture that we wanted to preserve. And so with that, and it happened in one of Her Highness's visits to Dib al-Hisn in Sharjah, that she actually, with Sharjah Businesswomen Council, that she actually met an elderly lady and from Dib al-Hisn who presented Her Highness with a beautiful handcrafted telly bag. And so Her Highness appreciated the handbag, really appreciated the handcraft and work and labor that went into this bag. And so she asked the lady, who happened to be Mahmed, on who created this. So Mahmed said, I'm the one who created it by myself. And so Her Highness then turned around back then, and this was 2014, and said, well, let's create something to empower these women. We started, and so Bidwa was basically a simple program that was created in Dib al-Hisn to empower artisans, or to see what they can do in order to empower women in that region. Today, fast forward to 2022, we have Irthi Contemporary Craft Council. It is one of the leading craft councils in the Middle East, where we are working and in documenting heritage and culture, creating artisans. We started off with one artisan, which was Mahmed. Today we have 60 registered official artisans that attend on a daily basis at our Bidwa Development Center in Dib al-Hisn. And then we also have 250 artisans who work from home. We have received, and alhamdulillah, we received an award. Actually, Sharjah won the award of UNESCO for folks and culture, and that was thanks to IRTHI's documentation and what we presented to the UNESCO. We are now focusing also on IRTHI with youth, reviving dying crafts, linking ourselves with different artists, where we've collaborated with international brands like Cartier, Bulgari, and the list goes on. And that was only to basically enhance our level of production, and also make sure that we have created an economy that our senior citizens, our artisans that we're so proud of, can actually live a respectable life and make sure that they are generating their own income. We do a lot of vocational training, and they're not only trained in order only in crafts, but we've actually empowered them to a point where they've learned how to read and write. Anything that they would need and require on daily life level. So this is with regards to IRTHI. And then came Badri, and Badri was actually created because there was a gap. We realized that there was an educational gap. We wanted, as Sharjah Business Women Council, their mandate was to increase or try to create more women or include more women and encourage them to be entrepreneurs or open up their businesses in Sharjah and whatnot. But then we realized that there is a gap. There is an educational gap. Universities do not teach you on how to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And this was at the time where everyone was beating the drum of entrepreneurship. Let's say this is 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. No one was actually educating people. We know and we understand fully that out of 10 people that go into university, maybe 2 will end up as entrepreneurs in the market. And so this gap was when we realized that there was a gap, and so we decided to solve it. And the solution was create courses that we would go into universities, create these workshops where we would encourage women or girls at university level to be well aware of what entrepreneurship is, what it compromises of, what it takes to be an entrepreneur, kind of not gauging them towards it, but educating them. The last one that was created was actually NEMA, and that was actually to start to pull in all these 3 affiliates and be the umbrella. Exactly. And then at the same time, represent whatever we are doing in terms of women empowerment and translate it and reflect it and showcase it to the entire world. And that's where we started as NEMA, collaborating with UN Women. So we're working on international standards now, trying to elevate whatever we are doing internally and showcasing the women in the best way possible. We've hired so many young Emiratis, and these young Emiratis have proven, that they are able and capable. Last but not least, I think what keeps us motivated in NEMA and how we move forward is always Her Highness, Sheikha Jawahar, and we are so blessed to be working in one of her organizations, because she is a constant inspiration on a daily basis. She is a hands-on kind of boss, let's say, and the beauty of it is everyone is given a chance to speak with Her Highness, and Her Highness would there's no selection. It's definitely and give us advice, and she is our mentor, and whether she would say it in via social media or on a tweet, or she would respond, and she is the first one to like or send a comment on anything that we post on social media.
Thank you so much, Miss Reem. I've actually been meaning to ask you about women empowerment and in Sharjah, and how does it relate to Sharjah, and you've answered that wonderfully. We'll be back after a quick break to ask Miss Reem lots of other interesting questions here on Good to Great. All right, so Miss Reem, let's talk about you. I want to know about your starting points. How did you start? How? Just tell us how. How did you become that successful?
I don't consider myself, first of all, successful.
Who do you not?
I don't.
All of the people do.
No. I think it's. I started off with, graduating from AUS. I was a pioneer. Worked in majored in a bachelor's in interior design. Ended up graduating from there in 2002. Then I worked for 2 years to gain experience in Dubai Civil Aviation, back then, which was now Dubai Airports, in the engineering department. Then came back and worked with my father in his own family business, which is a construction company. Stayed there and then started getting involved with different Sharjah initiatives. I'm a Sharjah girl to the core. So anything to do with philanthropy and anything to do with, charity work, development and whatnot, that I've always, that always has interested me. And so I started volunteering in Sharjah Tatweer Forum back then, where it was basically a platform that was a think tank for Sharjah. They would empower youth. And so I started, participating, getting more involved, taking different courses, educating myself about what's happening around the world and even in Sharjah. Then I was appointed in, can't remember the year, but it was, I was appointed to be board of directors in Sharjah Tatweer Forum. 2013, I was appointed by Her Highness to run the children's centers in Sharjah. So right now when we're talking, I went from a complete engineering background to something which was completely different. Now it's human development and it was the children's centers. The challenge was on two levels. First of all, moving from a private sector to the government sector. So I had to hit the ground running. Every day was, it was challenging. And I think this is what keeps me on my toes. I've always wanted, I get bored quite easily. And I love a good challenge. So that was that from 2013 to 2016. And then in 2016, Her Highness announced Ruba' Qarn, which was the umbrella that would host children's centers, the Sajaya Girls Centers, the youth centers, and Sharjah Tatweer Forum, all combined together as 4 entities under a bigger umbrella. And so I was appointed also with my colleagues to be a board of trustee in Ruba' Qarn. And in 2016, I was asked to join NAMA, and in January 2017, I joined NAMA. And from that on, it's been beautiful. Like if someone comes to me and says, where do you work? I was like, I don't go to work, I go to play because I love what I do. And I think that's the key, that's the ingredients that everyone has to really and truly believe and understand, that in order for you to succeed at anything, you've got to love what you're doing and believe. Definitely. Exactly. And so I've always been interested in, making a difference in the world, helping people, whether it's on a philanthropic level or any other level. And so when you get a combination of all this and trying to be creative at the same time, where you're designing constantly, whether it's designing a program or whether you're designing a building or whether you're designing a product or whether you're designing a program, or putting together a kind of, a development kind of structure. It's so beautiful and interesting. To me, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but to me, it fits like a glove. And so that is why yes, there are challenging days. There are days where, I would want to scream and isolate myself and stand on top of a mountain and just scream. But it's coming from a good space. And it's because you can get things done, and this is what frustrates you. And it's not necessarily, to me, I think ever since I was young, my late mother used to always say, for every problem there is a solution. If someone ever says no to you, challenge the no. Ask why. Ask the question. Because they may understand or misunderstand where you're coming from, and that is their first reaction. No one's going to come to you. If you say, can I have some money? Your reaction to me would be like, no. Or then your second question would be, why? So automatically we're programmed to say no, to protect ourselves. And some people, and in other cultures, you're asked to say yes, to be obedient. And it depends who's asking you. If a parent is asking you, you'd say yes. If a sibling is asking you, you'd say no. So this is where, and if someone doesn't know you, they're automatically say no to you, right? So always challenge the question. Ask why. Ask why not. And then explain to them, talk to them, ask. And I think by not accepting the word no, this is where, there's no problem without a solution. But it's how you look at it and from which perspective you're looking at it. But if you truly believe in that, I think skies are your limits. Nothing can stop you. And if you truly believe in what you're doing and you understand why you're doing it, it's not for the show. It's not for the Instagram. It's not for the likes. It's not for being put in on a platform to speak on an international. No. You need to understand and take a step back and look at the bigger picture on what exactly you're doing here. And this is what I always tell anyone who joins Nama. Nama is an opportunity for any girl to change or to create a career path for herself. Because we have girls from completely different majors. So if you're talking about graphic design, if you're talking about product design, if you're talking about programs, if you're talking about international relations, if you're anything, we're always saying, this is my word to anyone who joins Nama, is that if you're here for 2 years, make sure you make the max and get the max out of it. Because we are a transitional point in anyone's life. If you decide to join Nama, gain so much, and leave, we're so happy because we've actually added value to you as an individual. And this is why today we have so many girls from so many different walks of life, so many different backgrounds, and they're like, why do you need so many translators? We're like, because we have so many, and researchers. We're like, because we believe in documentation, we believe in research, we believe in documenting research. We need to make a change in the narrative of how women are perceived in our world. And in order to do that, if I don't document this,
We have to prove it.
exactly, we need to prove it. And it's not me going on a platform and talking for me to prove it and arguing. It's facts. This is what makes the difference.
Amazing. I can simply go on and on just listening to you. It's so beautiful, honestly. Thank you so much, Miss Reem. So we are going back after the final break to ask Miss Reem about the mistakes that she's done and her regrets, and what does she think about them, and what is her final advice to the listeners, right here on Good to Great. All right, so now, since we're back, Miss Reem, can you tell us if you've done any mistakes that you felt like, or regrets, let's say, that you felt that they've put you down or disappointed you or stopped you from being successful?
Okay, I don't want to seem arrogant, or I don't want to seem like someone who's so full of themselves. But I honestly have no regrets. Everything I do with zero regrets. And I think it's maybe because I believe in what I do. Mm-hmm. Life taught me to believe in what I'm doing. And I think an advice that was given to me at a very young age, was never do anything without asking for other people's opinions. But then do what your gut says, and do what, I believe in a lot in gut instinct. Like most of the things and decisions I make are based on, obviously, first I would ask, I would ask people around me. And this is what we always say is shuru, take someone else's opinion, ask them, and keep an open mind on whatever the answer may come, or the answer you'd be given. But when you make it, you make a sound decision based on all the facts, and it's never emotional. It's always factual. And I think maybe because I do depend on facts, and that's why I've always made decisions that there's nothing I regret up to today. Maybe the one thing I may regret is not learning to pick up more hobbies or pick up more languages in order to communicate with people. But
As a regret, you wouldn't call it as
I wouldn't call it a regret, no. Because there's still time for me to pick up another language or an instrument or, a hobby. Exactly.
Absolutely, yes, I do agree, to be honest, I do agree. To me, I think mistakes, even if mistakes were done, we can learn from them. So it's never a regret. All right, so Ms. Reem, any final advice you can give to our listeners?
I think if we're going to be talking on a Nama level, I think more people need to know more about Nama and need to make it their mission to learn more about Nama, because yes, I've given you a brief, but there's so many different levels to what we do. And I think I would love to spread the word of Nama. I would love people to come visit Nama and its affiliates and actually benefit from them, whether you're a businesswoman or whether you are interested in education or even skills development, whether you're developing your skills, whether you're interested in women's rights and whatnot. And I truly believe, and now speaking about women, one thing that we believe truly in Nama is, yes, we're all for women. We are trying to create an equitable world for women. But we also believe in equity. I'm not saying put every woman on a board. I'm saying put the right woman on the board. Put someone who would last and not ruin it for all the other women. Give women a chance. Take a chance. Someone took a chance on me. And I think if we give people chances and at the same time mentor them, or have someone mentor them, or communicate with them from time to time, they will be able to make it. But if I hire someone and say, I'm going to take a chance on you, and completely ignore them and not give them the roadmap, and I'm setting them up for failure. So it's very important to learn, listen, educate, and be there, and keep an open mind, a very open mind in anything you approach, on anything that comes your way.
Thank you so much, Miss Reem. It's been wonderful, to be honest. That's one of the best advices I've had here on Good to Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Reem bin Karam, Director of Nama Women Advancement Establishment, who oversees the Sharjah Business Women Council, Irthi Contemporary Crafts Council, and Badri Education and Development Academy, was with us today on Good to Great, and she gave us wonderful advices and beautiful talk that would encourage anyone to work harder, especially women. Make sure to text us on 4215 to share your thoughts and ideas. Do not miss out on our weekly show, Good to Great, because there's always something interesting and new coming up. And until next week, do not change the radio station and keep it always on Pulse 95.